and welcome to week 7, day 4 of our reading, research, and writing. This is Miss Rosie, and today we're going to be talking about expanding sentences. Your objective for today is you will learn about writing kernels and practice expanding sentences. But first, what is an expanding sentence? Well, an expanding sentence is writing about the where, when, and why in your writing. Turn to this page in your mini lesson and look. Down here, I have a sentence, I cried. However, that's a short sentence. That's what I call a kernel. It gives me just a little bit of information. By expanding my sentence and adding the where, when, and why, I can add more detail to my story. Let's see what happens when I add more. Where did I cry? I cried at the park. When did I cry? I cried at the park on Saturday. And why was I crying? I cried at the park on Saturday because I fell. There's a huge difference between I cried and I cried at the park on Saturday because I fell. The second sentence tells my reader a lot of information and paints a much more colorful picture in their head about what I'm talking about. Let me give you my personal example before you try one. The sentence I'm starting with is, I was inspired. But I need to think of a place where I was inspired, because right now, you don't know anything about the time I was inspired. You know what? I was inspired at the art museum. That's a little more detail, but I can add even more. When was I inspired? I was inspired at the art museum last January. Now my reader's getting a better idea of my inspiration. I can add even more to that though, because I can add the why I was inspired. I was inspired at the art museum last January because I saw a beautiful statue. Now my reader has a very clear picture of what inspired me. But that was my example. Now it's your turn. What were you inspired by? Look at that blank page in front of you and write your own information there. Where were you inspired? When were you inspired? And why were you inspired? Take a moment to pause the video so you can write. Are you ready to move on? Let's go. For this next part, you're going to need to turn back to our reading about Barack Obama, because we are going to write about when Barack Obama was helpful. You just practiced adding your where, when, and why to make your sentences more vivid, to paint a better picture in your reader's head. Now you have to think, where was Barack Obama helpful? When was Barack Obama helpful? And why was Barack Obama helpful?